New York, the internet has been set ablaze by intense speculation after a series of exclusive photos outside the iconic Madison Square Garden went viral. Amateur snapshots and professional press photos captured a scene that stands in stark contrast to what the public usually expects. The exterior of the arena appeared completely sparse, populated only by rows of empty metal barricades and a few scattered individuals seeking shade under the shadows of towering skyscrapers to escape a blistering, record-breaking heat wave engulfing New York City. The narrative spreading across social media immediately questioned whether the global megastar truly expected to draw royal-level crowds for her big day, or if this was a massive miscalculation by her management team. Given her reputation for selling out massive stadiums in mere minutes, the unusually quiet outdoor scene sparked a fierce debate over her current star power and the management of public expectations. Before we dive deeper into leaked internal documents and the shocking truth behind the scenes, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on this video to support deep investigative pop culture journalism. Drop your thoughts in the comments section below about what you think really happened at Madison Square Garden that day. Rumors regarding a massive, high-profile event at Madison Square Garden had been swirling for months across various fan theory forums. Every minute detail, from top-tier security arrangements to outdoor evacuation routes designed to handle tens of thousands of people, was analyzed relentlessly. Public expectations had skyrocketed, creating an assumption that this event would be the biggest cultural moment of the decade, drawing millions of eyes to the city streets. However, when the day finally arrived amid New York's scorching temperatures, the camera lenses captured a seemingly lackluster turnout, prompting major questions about whether extreme weather or a massive communication breakdown was to blame. Stay tuned because in just a few moments, we will uncover a leaked internal document revealing the initial capacity blueprints and how the management team reacted when the outdoor crowd numbers failed to match their early projections. Do not miss this crucial breakdown, because what happened behind closed doors will completely shift your perspective on this viral story. Looking closely at the aerial shots of the venue, it is undeniably clear that the external infrastructure was set up to handle an overwhelming sea of people, typical of a massive global stadium tour. This visible lack of an outdoor crowd quickly became ammunition for critics looking to construct a narrative of fading popularity. However, this is where the real plot twist of this entire controversy comes to light. According to highly reliable insider sources, the empty and desolate visual captured by the media outside was not a failure at all. It was the result of a highly calculated, top-tier security strategy designed to divert public attention. Management deliberately fed conflicting information regarding the timeline and primary entrance points to prevent dangerous, uncontrollable crowd buildups in the hazardous, extreme heat. The ultimate payoff of the story came to light when leaked footage from inside the arena began surface online hours after the event concluded. Inside the heavily air-conditioned, cool sanctuary of Madison Square Garden, the atmosphere was a complete 180-degree turn from the outside heat. The venue was filled with warmth, luxury, and an exclusive A-list guest list gathered for a deeply private and intimate celebration, completely shielded from the chaotic media circus outside. The narrative of a failed royal-level turnout instantly crumbled the moment the public realized the emptiness outside Madison Square Garden was actually a massive success in pulling off the ultimate private event. What are your thoughts now that the real facts behind these viral photos have been uncovered? Do you think misleading the public for the sake of safety and privacy was a genius move? Or do you feel there should have been a more transparent way to handle the expectations of loyal fans? Don't forget to drop your insights in the comments section below. Make sure to share this video with your fellow pop culture enthusiasts so they don't get caught up in the misinformation online. Hit the like button if you appreciate deep dive analyses like this, and we will see you in the next investigative update. As the digital dust begins to settle over the sensational images outside Madison Square Garden, the global entertainment industry is finding itself at a critical crossroads. The initial shockwave of seeing a historically packed venue surrounded by nothing but empty sidewalks and sweating security guards has transformed into a masterclass study on modern celebrity culture, crisis management, and the terrifying power of viral optics. While the public continues to debate whether this was a catastrophic miscalculation or a brilliant tactical maneuver, industry insiders are looking at the long-term implications of this unprecedented event. The contrast between the sweltering, deserted streets of Manhattan, and the ultra-exclusive, star-studded sanctuary inside the arena highlights a growing divide in how modern icons interact with the public. To fully comprehend the sheer scale of this narrative shift, we must examine the immediate financial and branding ripple effects that occurred in the hours following the initial news break. Pop culture analysts and media metrics companies reported an unprecedented spike in online search volume, with keywords relating to the event dominating global trends for days. For a brief moment, the narrative controlled by critical media outlets threatened to damage a multi-million-dollar brand equity built over decades. Speculation ran rampant on Wall Street and within major entertainment conglomerates about whether consumer fatigue had finally set in, or if the extreme weather patterns plaguing the East Coast were becoming a legitimate threat to live entertainment infrastructure. Before we dissect the highly confidential logistical blueprints that show exactly how the venue layout was altered at the 11th hour, make sure you are still locked in. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, smash the like button, and drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on this next phase of the investigation. Do you believe big stars owe it to their fans to be completely transparent about their public appearances? Or is absolute privacy a fundamental right, even for the biggest names on Earth? Let us know, because your insights drive this conversation forward. What makes this situation particularly fascinating is the psychological warfare played out through the media. For years, the gold standard of global stardom was visibility, the ability to draw massive, roaring crowds that blocked city traffic and required citywide police escorts. It was the ultimate validation of cultural dominance. However, as drone photography and real-time social media tracking make it impossible for public figures to move without being swarmed, the definition of status is rapidly shifting from ultimate visibility to ultimate exclusivity. The ability to completely empty a perimeter around Madison Square Garden in the middle of a business day is, in its own paradoxical way, a much greater display of power and control than drawing a chaotic crowd. Let us pause and consider the immense logistical nightmare that the management team had to navigate behind the scenes. According to newly surfaced reports from municipal coordination offices in New York, the initial permit applications for the week of the event did indeed account for massive public gathering zones. The city had prepared for a Tier 1 celebrity event, complete with temporary road closures, specialized medical tents to combat the extreme heat index, and hundreds of additional personnel. The sudden pivot to a ghost town strategy wasn't just a whim. It was a high-stakes decision made in real time as heat advisories reached dangerous levels, threatening the physical well-being of thousands of fans who would have waited for hours on the burning asphalt. Stay right where you are, because in the next segment of this broadcast, we are going to reveal the specific internal communication memos sent to the A-list guest list, instructing them on how to bypass the media traps entirely. This exclusive look into the operational playbook reveals just how deep the deception went to ensure the event remained entirely secure. As we look at the broader picture, the real payoff of this entire controversy lies in what it reveals about the future of live events in an era defined by extreme climate challenges and hypersurveillance. The media's rush to judgment, labeling the empty streets a failure, exposes a desperate craving for sensationalism. In reality, the day proved that the metrics of success are being rewritten. The event achieved exactly what it set out to do. It protected the safety of the public, maintained the absolute sanctity of a deeply personal milestone, and still managed to capture the undivided attention of the entire world. This leaves the global audience with a profound question about the nature of modern celebrity worship. As fans, have we become so accustomed to demanding total access to the lives of our idols that we view their desire for privacy as a failure to deliver? The empty barricades of Madison Square Garden under the blazing New York sun may very well be remembered not as a moment of rejection, but as the day the rules of the game changed forever. Share this video with your community to keep the discussion alive. Hit that like button to support independent media analysis, and stay tuned as we continue to track the fascinating evolution of this historic pop culture phenomenon. As the implications of this unprecedented public relations shift continue to send shockwaves through the entertainment industry, the lens is now turning toward the long-term strategic future of global icons navigating an increasingly volatile media landscape. What began as a series of viral, misleading photographs depicting empty metal barricades under a punishing New York sun has rapidly evolved into a historical case study on how elite public figures are completely rewriting the rules of engagement with both the public and the mainstream press. The absolute contrast between the desolate exterior of Madison Square Garden and the high society sanctuary engineered within its walls proves that the traditional metrics used to measure a star's cultural impact, such as physical crowd size and public visibility, are becoming completely obsolete in the modern era of hyperconnectivity and immediate online narrative formation. To truly understand the massive scale of this ongoing transformation, one must analyze the profound impact this event has had on the broader industry of event planning, celebrity branding, and crisis communications. For decades, the ultimate proof of a star's dominance was their ability to gridlock major metropolitan centers, creating massive spectacles that paralyzed city streets and demanded massive municipal coordination. Today, however, that very same level of visibility is being viewed as a dangerous vulnerability. Security experts are pointing out that in an era where drone technology can track movements in real time and social media algorithms can mobilize tens of thousands of people in a matter of minutes, the ultimate display of luxury, power, and operational control is no longer the ability to attract a crowd, but rather the absolute power to prevent one from gathering in the first place. Before we dive deep into the newly uncovered financial reports revealing the exact budget allocated for this highly sophisticated diversion tactic, make sure you are fully engaged with this ongoing investigation. If you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button immediately, activate the notification bell so you never miss a breaking update, and hit the like button to support independent, high-fidelity media analysis. Leave a comment below explaining whether you believe this new era of hypersecrecy makes a global icon feel more distant from their fan base, or if you respect the absolute dedication required to protect personal milestones from the modern media circus. Your insights are critical as we unpack the next layer of this fascinating development. What makes this evolving narrative particularly captivating is the psychological chess match being played out between traditional media conglomerates and top-tier management teams. When the first images of the empty, sun-baked streets of Manhattan were published, major news outlets rushed to declare the event a catastrophic failure, assuming the low outdoor turnout signaled a massive decline in public interest or consumer fatigue. This immediate rush to judgment exposed a profound systemic vulnerability within modern journalism: the desperate need to capitalize on sensational headlines at the expense of deeper investigative truth. The media fell directly into a carefully constructed trap, broadcasting images of a ghost town while the actual target event proceeded flawlessly, entirely insulated from the chaotic public scrutiny that usually disrupts events of this monumental scale. Let us pause to examine the immense logistical coordination required to pull off a deception of this magnitude in one of the busiest, most heavily monitored cities on Earth. Internal documents from municipal transit authorities reveal that the city had originally prepared for a standard high-profile celebrity gathering, which would have required massive road closures and hundreds of emergency personnel to manage heat-related illnesses among fans waiting on the burning asphalt. The sudden, last-minute pivot to a total diversion strategy required seamless cooperation between private security details, local law enforcement, and venue management. By deliberately utilizing alternative, highly secured underground transport corridors and feeding conflicting arrival times to various media dispatch networks, the team effectively neutralized the threat of an uncontrollable public gathering during a dangerous heat wave. Stay exactly where you are because in the upcoming segment of this broadcast, we will expose the specific digital tracking data that shows how internet search algorithms were flooded with decoy locations in the hours leading up to the main event. This astonishing revelation reveals the sheer technical sophistication employed behind the scenes to keep the world looking in the wrong direction. As we look at the broader, long-term payoff of this entire controversy, it becomes undeniable that the event has set a brand new precedent for how major public figures will manage their private lives moving forward. The realization that an empty perimeter around an iconic venue can be a sign of absolute triumph rather than a failure of popularity represents a massive paradigm shift. The event successfully balanced public safety, corporate brand integrity, and the deeply personal nature of a historic milestone, all while maintaining the absolute attention of the global digital space. It proved that, in the modern world, controlling the absence of information is just as powerful as controlling the narrative itself. This leaves the global audience facing an essential question about the future of pop culture consumption and the boundaries of celebrity worship. As the line between public entertainment and private reality continues to blur, the empty, shimmering streets outside Madison Square Garden will stand as a monument to a new era of absolute narrative control. Share this video across your social networks to keep this critical conversation going. Hit that like button to show your support for deep dive investigative journalism. And make sure you stay tuned as we continue to follow every angle of this historic transformation in the world of high-profile entertainment. As the strategic ripples of this historic Madison Square Garden event continue to fundamentally alter the playbook for high-profile public relations, a much deeper, structural transformation is beginning to take shape across the entire global entertainment ecosystem. What initially presented itself as a localized media frenzy over seemingly abandoned barricades and a striking lack of foot traffic under the scorching New York sky has now fully bloomed into a high-stakes debate regarding the legal, financial, and ethical boundaries of modern celebrity curation. The stark divergence between the barren, shimmering concrete of Manhattan and the impenetrable, star-studded fortress operating right beneath the public's nose has forced top-tier talent agencies and international lifestyle brands to reevaluate how they calculate the true return on investment for live, monumental cultural milestones. To accurately trace the long-term momentum of this narrative evolution, one must look closely at the sudden shift occurring within corporate sponsorship circles and luxury brand boardrooms. For generations, the valuation of an elite public figure's cultural capital was directly tied to raw data metrics of physical presence. The density of a crowd, the length of an outdoor queue, or the sheer volume of chaotic noise generated by thousands of assembled onlookers. However, market analysts specializing in high-net-worth consumer behavior are noting that in a hyper-saturated digital market, chaos is no longer a luxury commodity. Control is. The capacity to command absolute silence and total vacancy around an iconic metropolitan landmark during peak business hours represents a staggering level of operational dominance that traditional red carpet spectacles simply cannot replicate. Before we unpack the confidential digital forensic data that outlines the precise metadata and geofencing strategies utilized to neutralize paparazzi tracking networks on the day of the event, ensure that you remain fully locked into this ongoing investigative series. If you haven't done so yet, take a moment to click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you are immediately alerted to our next breaking pop culture breakdown, and smash the like button to support highly detailed, independent media journalism. Drop a line in the comment section below to let us know your perspective. Do you think this shift toward absolute, engineered invisibility makes the world of global celebrity culture more intriguing? Or does it permanently damage the authentic bond between an icon and the public? Your interactions directly fuel this deep dive coverage. What makes this continuing saga so utterly gripping to observe is the profound realization that the mainstream media's traditional methods of capturing breaking news were completely weaponized against them. By rushing to broadcast the empty exterior of Madison Square Garden as an empirical sign of a dwindling fan base or a devastating public relations failure, major news networks inadvertently fulfilled the exact objective laid out by the superstar's internal security matrix. The press corporate machinery became an active participant in its own misdirection, spending hours analyzing a decoy reality while the genuine, ultra-exclusive gathering unfolded in total serenity. This unprecedented maneuver has exposed a massive systemic vulnerability in the way modern journalism relies on immediate visual optics rather than patient, investigative verification. Let us pause to reflect on the monumental legal and municipal coordination required to execute a tactical displacement of this scale in the very heart of New York City. Documents currently surfacing from municipal planning boards indicate that the event's legal representatives had secured highly specific, non-traditional zoning variances months in advance. These permits allowed for the fluid alteration of traffic patterns and pedestrian access points on a minute-by-minute basis, effectively granting private security teams the authority to reshape the public perimeter in real-time response to shifting heat indices and online digital chatter. This level of unprecedented civic cooperation demonstrates that municipal governments are increasingly prioritizing public safety and infrastructure preservation over the traditional media demands for public access and unmitigated crowd accumulation. Do not look away from your screen because in our next upcoming segment, we are going to dive directly into the highly restrictive non-disclosure agreements that every single venue employee and service contractor was required to sign prior to entering the arena. This extraordinary legal framework reveals the staggering financial penalties that kept an entire stadium workforce completely silent throughout the duration of this historic operation. As we analyze the final, definitive payoff of this entire media phenomenon, it becomes increasingly clear that the empty metal barricades under the blazing Manhattan sun will be remembered as the exact moment the traditional era of celebrity accessibility died. The realization that absolute privacy can be successfully engineered on a massive, global scale without sacrificing an ounce of worldwide digital attention represents a total paradigm shift. The event didn't just survive the extreme weather conditions and the hyper-surveillance of the modern internet. It used those exact elements to craft an unbreakable shield of exclusivity, redefining the concept of a historic milestone for generations to come. This leaves the global public to grapple with a striking reality about the nature of modern media consumption. In a world where every single moment is expected to be captured, uploaded, and dissected for public entertainment, the ultimate luxury has officially become that which cannot be seen. The silent, empty avenues surrounding Madison Square Garden will long stand as a stark monument to the power of absolute narrative insulation. Share this broadcast across your networks to ensure your community is tracking the true facts behind the headlines. Click that like button to validate independent cultural analysis, and stay permanently tuned as we continue to monitor the fascinating, unfolding future of global